can get everybody all muted. And then Zvone, you can unmute yourself. Mute all. And I just want to say an extra special welcome. And other than that, we are started. And I am very delighted to have everybody here tonight on our 100% Better in Wealth number 5. And that is how to, the 4 different types of network marketer and how to work with them. So I just wanted to say I'm really excited for you guys to being on these calls. And that next week is our final one on leadership. So thanks for joining us. So getting back to our very special guest speaker here tonight has been with us. And I'm going to get him to share his story with everybody a little bit before he shares his screen on what has brought him into this industry, what he loves about it, and then most importantly, share with everybody the 4 types of network marketers. So Zvone is one of our fabulous, I believe 3 stars. Is that correct, Zvone? Are you a 3-star?
2-star.
A 2-star? A 2-star. So one of our very own 2 stars here with Longevity and a lifer and a professional network marketer. So Zvone, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. So I got into network marketing just over 30 years ago now, and what I saw in there was a dream of stepping out of the system that I perceived as a modern day slavery. I still look at today, you know, how most people are beholden to their bank, buy a mortgage and car loans, and they don't have an opportunity to stop. In the United States, even when they're sick, they cannot stop. And I asked a gentleman I met a few years ago, you know, about holidays. I had a conversation with him like Tom does. And when we got to the holidays, he told me I haven't had a holiday in 27 years. And he was kind of proud. So then I asked him, how come? Why? A reason? I couldn't afford to have a holiday because if I did, I might come back and my job is gone to someone else. So to me, that is a slavery. And that was my main reason. And at the beginning, I didn't have a good sponsor. I had somebody who enrolled me that literally joined 5 minutes before me. And neither of us knew what we were doing. He quit the next day and I persisted. And I did network marketing like that for about 6 years, doing everything you could possibly imagine. Whatever I could think of, I did it. Everything except everything that I could say, I tried everything that doesn't work. I figured out how the network marketing eventually works by doing everything that didn't work. By the time I got ready to start building, I also found a decent mentor. And once I had a mentor, from then on, it was easy. I find that even though I had no success for 6 years, once I had my mentor and I started working the system together as a team, I was on 6-figure income in 6 months. So I know this industry works. You got to know what to do. You have to follow the system. You have to follow your upline. And from there, it's quite simple. And I also see, you know, I'm an economist. So when I looked at the system, I could see that in a way, most people treat it as a lottery. And it's not a lottery. However, there is a system of probability, meaning that the more people I market to, the more people I speak with, the more likely the probability will be in my favor that I will find somebody who is really looking for this. My motto and my modus operandi in Latin is we are not in the business of cajoling, manipulating, convincing, and not even begging people into our business, but rather we are looking for those who are looking for what we've got. And I've operated like that for a long time, and I know that there are people out there who are praying for what we got, and we just need to find them, or we need to be out there so they can find us. But often they will find us. So what I'm going to talk tonight about is 4 different styles of network marketers. It's akin to a personality profile, although I will say that it's not necessarily a personality profile. This is research of behavior we found, particularly a friend of ours, David Collister. He has done a lot of research and found that by observing there was certain type of behaviors, and so he grouped them together and found that more or less we have 4 styles in which people are doing business. So I'm going to now share a PowerPoint I got, or it's actually a PDF file, so it won't behave like PowerPoint. So can you see it good?
Yeah. Okay.
So the 4 type of network marketers, I'm going to just name them right at the beginning, because I'll refer to them as we go through. The 4 types of network marketers is promoters, trainers, nurturers, or supporters, and strategists or analytics. So there are people who are using, different ways or different style of doing the same thing. We're all following the same system, but each of us is slightly different person, different personality, and we're all unique. Ultimately, we have to work on our uniqueness and work as a team, ideally. So what I like to talk about is, the four types of networkers that we've named here. There isn't any of them that's better than the other. There isn't any of them that's not good. And we have people of all 4 different types that have been highly successful in our industry. However, the way they got to that success was significantly different from each other. And that's why I would like to address this, because we are working as teams. You will have in your team all 4 of them. Sometimes they're personally sponsored, sometimes they're not. And the reason for us talking about this is so that you can spot them and understand how to work with them. Because if you are communicating with somebody and you are basically not meeting with them, they won't be able to relate to you, and you may make them feel like there's something wrong with them, and that's not the idea and the purpose of what we do. So, we have, like I said before, planner, analytic, and I also like to call them a strategist, a promoter, a nurturer, or a supporter, and trainer and teacher. So they are the 4 profiles. First, we're going to talk about the planners and strategists. Obviously, they love to analyze everything and strategize. Quite often, they won't going to make a move until they've actually figured it all out. But once I know that once they figure it out, quite often we'll have an amazing strategy. Now, in my past, I've often had come across somebody like that, and unfortunately, demanding that they follow exact, precise system, I've made them inadvertently. I made them wrong for thinking of a better strategy, and they didn't appreciate it, and I've lost them. So it's a good to know that when you meet somebody who likes to analyze everything, help them analyze it well, show them the training and help them analyze it, and help them understand that you know and understand where they're coming from. So don't make them wrong. That's the key piece. And you'll find that quite often they're not able to make spontaneous, quick decisions. So, like prospecting on the go, if you put them in front of the room suddenly without them being prepared, you might you might do them a huge disservice. So there are some examples. I'm going to talk more about it at the end. So, you will find you need all 4 of these people. And quite often these people that are strategists are also highly educated. Often they're business people, and you know, they may come up with some amazing strategies, and certainly they will tell you, they will pick up weaknesses. They will see them in a system very quickly, and I invite you to listen to them. Don't just discount them because they're newbie, and especially when they're newbie. But also at the same time, don't make them feel like now they're the master of network marketing, because they're not. They just spotted a weakness in the system, but that's their strength. So you will find that they will have spend a lot of time looking at a compensation plan, and they will probably understanding it. Now, sometimes they will understand it beyond what I would say what's good for them, and they will try to beat the system. Now, you can rig a compensation plan in your favor. Now, that's not always very good, and it certainly doesn't work long-term for long-term success. I like the you know, people like that. I like to sit down with them and really help them understand and analyze the compensation plan, and often I will learn something from them. That's just been virtually every time. So that they are the strategists, you know, they plan, they strategize, and they love to analyze everything to bits. Now, the key piece for them is you want to make sure they don't get stuck in the detail of an analysis and take 2 years to get started. It would be helpful to help them get into understanding really fast, so that they can then create their own strategy for how they're moving forward. Now, often they will say, oh, I think I'm going to do this. Now, don't say, no, that's not going to work. Because when you say that, you really discount them. You're saying, you know, and those people might have had the experience in traditional business, and in traditional business that might have worked really well for them. What I found really good was to say, well, you know, I don't know, it might work. I haven't tried that. Let us try it and see, and try it for a little bit, but just one leg, one person. We don't want to tell everybody about it. Try just a little bit to see how it works. And if it works, we'll do more. But if it doesn't work, we'll change, we'll adjust. Now, that way they felt like they were appreciated, listened to. And, you know, sometimes what they come up with doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And it makes a huge difference. And then other people can copy that. Now, that's, you know, you definitely need at least one of them in your group. And, you know, like how to work with them, I already talked about. You know, sit down with them, plan, strategize. They're great support for events. When you're planning events for your group, you know, like a yearly event, they'll be great. They'll help you really stay on track and plan really well the events. Now, but the most important thing with them is that you make sure that you also help them create their plan, but not just plan it, but actually execute it. The key piece is the action. We all know without action, nothing happens, and people can get stuck. Each one of these profiles, you will find people can get stuck in the place of what we call management or activity, but not productive action. Now, the key piece is you keep them on track so that they are either recruiting new people, training them, or helping them recruit new people. That's the basics of network marketing. There isn't a lot more to it. I think that as I talk, you probably recognize some of the people in your group, and you'll think, yeah, no, they're planners or strategists. I like to call them strategists, because that's, in my opinion, more actually describing how they behave. Although planner, it's a really good description too. The next person I want to talk about is promoters. And I would like to say that before I get into this, every person has got all four. We're not, you know, we're not one-sided, two-dimensional people. However, certain people are much more, some of us are much more comfortable with, say, promoting or planning, and some other people with supporting. And so promoters are, promoters like sales. Quite often you'll find them, they are already in sales, and when they come into network marketing, they often love it. However, promoters are not in huge numbers. I would say promoters, they are no more than maybe 5 to 10, maybe 15% of the population are promoters. And as I say, often they're already in sales. And they're really good at finding the shortest path to success. They simply have an ability to see it. And it's really good to know that, because if they found something that they think is going to take them to the shortest path to the results, it's good to pay attention and really watch it. Now, sometimes the shortcut might not be 100% say in integrity. That they might find that if they make certain, say, claims about products, that everybody buys it. Now, they will not outright lie. I'm not saying they might do that, but they could make it kind of look like as if they're making a claim. And so you got to be watching them. They are really great at getting a lot of people in the business fast. The best way to work with them is meetings, and they love big events, because you'll find the promoters will be people that will have the highest number of bumps on the seats. They simply have passion for helping lots of people all at once. They're not having a lot of patience to be working with one at a time. They want 10, 20, 30, even more at a time. And, I know people, I've had people in my groups that had big meetings and recruited 40 people in one night. And then the next night, another 30. And third night, like in 1 week, they had achieved considerable ranks. And they created tremendous duplication and momentum. See, promoters are great at creating huge momentum. Now, the one thing that you need to be also aware of it, that because they can bring so many people into the business, they can also lose them easy. So where you want to really help them is help them with systems so that they don't lose people. Help them by introducing other types of networkers to them so they can work as a team. It's quite easy for a promoter to be a lone ranger. They're really good at sales. They'll sell, like we say, ice cream to Eskimo. However, that doesn't mean they will have a huge network marketing group. They will, if they understand with their strengths and weaknesses and work with the team. If they work with the team, they will have a huge results. If they're not, they will find that they're kind of running on a treadmill, bringing people in, and as they bring in, they're losing them. So that's, the promoters are great at creating huge leverage. And like I said, they really do well when they follow a simple system. Now, they are really good. I mean, you really want them in front of the room. They are the best presenters, in my opinion. And they love it. They love presenting. And most of them really like network marketing, even though if they do not have a decent support behind them and understanding, they might find that, they feel out of place and that they have a hard time succeeding. Now, there are whole companies there that they will have a culture of promoters, and they will attract mostly promoters. And those kind of companies can be really fast growing with hopeless retention, but still growing so fast that a lot of people are joining them. Now, I'm not saying any of this is either good or bad. It's just how they tend to behave, and we want to help them. Now, I would say I would wish that you were blessed with a few promoters in your team, every one of you, because they will create momentum. They'll help you create momentum. And, they're great at bringing people in. Now, you need to have systems in place to keep them. So it's important that you are aware of it. When you spot a promoter, you'll find they're fast, they speak quite a bit faster, they're often very short in patience one-on-one. They don't have a patience, and when you're talking, they might be saying to you, come on, spit it out. don't tell me the whole story. Just give me the point, the main point. They are people that are, you know, sometimes we call them top achievers, but in our context, we really focus on their behavior in building the network marketing business. They're great at promoting, and they will, you know, they will find ways of promoting that you have never thought of. And they will be good, you know, they would be, with somebody that is promoter, for example, they don't have patience to do long drawn out coffee shop interview. They will do it very short, to the point, maybe 4 or 5 questions and done. That's the difference between between different types. Now, this is, I'm talking in extreme situations, you know, people who have tendency to be 80–90% promoter. Now, nobody is 100%, right? But some people are more promoters than others, and they are really people you really want to have in the teams, providing you know how to work with them. So basically give them freedom and edify them and allow them to be in the front of the room. Let them lead the meetings. Let them be one of the key presenters, not the only presenter, because they can be fast, they could be excited, but can be overexcited and could be also putting some people off, especially if people are, you know, other types like supporters. So you're going to balance it out. As I say, they need to learn how to work in a team. Don't let them run the whole meeting on their own. However, help them. The key piece is you help them with retention. If you can help them with retention, you will find your group will be growing really fast and strong. Now, how do you help them with retention? Well, get systems in place, systems that they can relate to and follow, and they will, you know, they will do great training. There's no but. Their training might last half an hour and do the 5 days of training in half an hour. Now, that's phenomenal, and another promoter would probably pick it up and run with that. But most of people that they bring in, they will not have the competence to go and duplicate. So they need help. See, they need help with training, they need help with support. And if you can do that, you will, you know, you'll find your group will go into tremendous momentum. Now, I know that, you know, promoters can be really good at promoting, but you make sure they stick to the rules. They stick to what is okay to say and where we are going into the gray color in terms of making claims, making income claims. I mean, I've had an experience of a promoter who was recruiting me, and he was telling me that, you know, I will be millionaire in 3 weeks. Now, he didn't say it exactly like that, but he made me believe that, you see. Now, I know that he would have probably said, no, I never said that. And, but the way he was presenting, he made me believe that. And I was at that time totally new to the industry. And for a couple of days, I actually believed it until I woke up one morning, did some calculation and said, that's impossible, knowing that, you know. And the thing was, he enrolled me and I never heard from him again for a long time because he was on to the next person. So you want to help them stay within the rules and so they keep the integrity, because the worst thing that can happen to promoters is that they burn through their warm market. They've gone through several companies. By the time they get to be with you, most of the warm market people that they know might be mistrustful of them. They know them now too well, especially if they were not properly coached. So keep them on track like that. Now, there is a way of helping them. And the best way that I know of helping them is to help them work with a team. Help them be an important part of the team. Not necessarily the leader of the team, but kind of make them feel like they are. But you as the upline, you are the leader of the team. Now, the next one I like to talk about is the nurturers, supporters, and you know, that's majority of people. As far as we could see, most people, especially in health-related companies, you will find lots of nurturers and supporters because they love products, they love companies, and with them, anytime you start a conversation, they will deviate towards products. No matter where you begin the conversation, you might be talking about compensation plan, and they end up, and the conversation will end up in talking about products. They love products. They have, however, challenging time to manage their time, and I'll tell you why. They are the kind of people that feel like, I don't want to leave anyone behind. If I recruit somebody as a nurturer, I want to see them succeed, and I will be with them. It's almost like the nurturer would be willing to flog a dead horse up the hill as long as that horse would have a potential promise of one day resurrecting. They will work with somebody who is definitely not gonna do anything, and they will not quit. They will not give up on them until the person will clearly tell them, look, I don't want to do this. And in that respect, that is the strength. They are an amazing support team. So you can see if they team up with a promoter, it could be a phenomenal team, because one will bring people in, the other one will help them, support them and help them grow. Quite often, supporters will feel intimidated by compensation plan. They might look at the compensation plan and see, oh, I need 9 legs, and they can barely think beyond 2. Not that they will not develop them. I know several people in the industry, top leaders, who are nurturers and supporters. It's just that they had understood their strength and then developed it further, and then created a team of people that has helped them. You see, if somebody is not phenomenal recruiter, but a great supporter, them teaming up with somebody who can recruit people, that's a winning formula. So they are this, all the people that are attracted to network marketing, by and large, every one of them has desire to make this world a better place, to help people. That people who hate helping other people, you will not see them in network marketing generally. At least I haven't met very many. So nurturers, however, they would like to change the world one person at a time. And they will not go to the next one until they're sure that one person is on track and running and doing well. And even then, so their biggest challenge will be to flip into a management mode. So they sometimes need a bit of a help with time management. They can be so product oriented that can miss an opportunity to recruit, say, a promoter, because the promoter wants to know, show me the money. And they're not necessarily initially interested in product. I'm not saying that promoters won't be interested in product later on, absolutely. And what we find, the more people have been, the longer they've been in the industry, the more they're able to adapt all 4 types in their own personality. Now, ideally, you're both able to operate is each one of them. See, I say to myself, okay, I need to support this person, so I'll put my nurturer's hat on. Why? Because that sets me in a different mode versus putting a promoter hat on, because I need to recruit some new people. So you can operate like that. However, I always encourage people to create a team and work with the team and see who you get in the team, and then attract those types of networkers that you're missing. So in generally, supporters are the best networker. They're phenomenal in this industry. They're doing really well. And you got to really help them stay out of management mode and keep them on track with the time management. You don't have to worry about them trying to cut corners and say something that's not kind of 100%. They're sticklers for that. They will never go telling you stuff that's not 100% integrity. Not a problem there. They will be an amazing product expert. So bring them into the meetings when it comes to products, especially product presenting and training. They're really good at that. They'll know everything about products. I mean, you have people that are on the surface, they look like they know as much as Dr. Wallach, although we know that's virtually impossible. But you get my drift. They just love products. And so like I said, help them with time management and keep them out of that management mode. Help them recruit people, help them go through the list time and again, and help them. You can actually say to them, why don't you introduce me to, say, so and so, say John, and I will speak to him together with you. You can help them recruit another person rather than leaving entirely on their own device. And they are phenomenal at bringing people in and supporting them to a success. I know several very, very successful leaders in the industry who are very strong promoters. Nurturers, supporters, I meant to say. Very strong supporters, and they don't have a massive group. Now, for all those nurturers out there, it's good to know that no matter how many legs people build, ultimately, I can tell you from the industry statistics and from my own research that 80 to 90% of income from virtually every leader comes from 3 legs. So can a nurturer recruit 3 legs? Yes, they can. So it's not as, but what nurture would do really well is work with 1 leg long enough so they get strong, but not beyond the point where you're babysitting them. You don't want to do that. You want to then move on to the next leg and manage the leg that you got, manage them, but start a new one. So think in terms of 3 major legs. That's what's creating 80 to 90% of income for virtually every leader. And those of you who know leaders in our company, just think about them and see what are their strong legs, and you will find out that that's probably 3 legs. So it's 3 legs is good enough, especially when they're massive and they are turning over millions of dollars in sales. So whenever you need some help with products, find nurturer. They will help you. Don't try to find a trainer to talk about product. Find a nurturer. They are the ones that know all about product. So then the last one is teach a trainer. Now, quite often teachers are also teachers in the other profession. School teachers quite often fit this category. Not always. Sometimes they're nurturers. Now, how do you spot a trainer? Well, they will be asking about a training, and very quickly they'll have their own training. I've had the experience where while I was preparing to go through the training and with the new person, and I send them just this little bit of material on training. But while I was preparing and we were not able to meet the next day, he wasn't available. So it took me maybe 3 days before we got together. By then he had his own training sorted, based on the few bits of material that I gave him. Amazing, and again, important to not make them wrong. I could have said, well, what do you know about this industry? Well, he's done some research, some Google, and what he put together was actually very good. I was surprised, and we were able to apply it. And he learned that some of it was plain wrong, what he put together, but most of it was really good. So you will notice them because they will also be, very easily you'll turn around, they'll be talking to somebody, you'll be training a person next to them in the room, in the training room. So what we find is when we do training, they often ask very good questions, and with questions point to special aha moments that people might have missed if it wasn't for them. And I encourage, when you find a trainer, give them a little piece of training. Let them do a little bit. However, I've made this mistake in the past where I've spotted somebody like that, didn't quite understand how this works. And because they were good at training, I made them, train the big rooms. And what happened was they started behaving like they're a big leader. They were training all these groups. They were acting like, you know, they're acting like the big leader with a big group. Well, they only had 3, 4 people, and I made the mistake that I put them, I kind of edify them too much, and that can hurt them because they get into their head, and they need, I know they feel the need for training, but, and to want to train people, but they also need to stay in the activity that's producing new recruits. They need to enroll new people, just like everybody else. And, you know, they can be good at enrolling. They'll be very good at training them. And so if they team up with the right person as a team, they'll do really well. So I encourage you to utilize their skill, let them do a little piece of training, but just a little piece. And you can say to them, when you reach the next rank, I'll let you do this much. When you reach the next rank, you can do the whole training. And so that they have, you know, paths to work towards. And they're really good at explaining stuff that's difficult. You know, somebody that, for example, who is a nurturer would have a hard time understanding, and even more so explaining how the compensation plan works and what the dynamics of the compensation plan is. While a trainer will spot it right away and will be able to really make other people understand it. And that's, you know, that's their huge skill. And you want to use that, but I warn you, do not put them in front of the room as a big leader. Keep them, you know, in the perspective to what their achievements really are, so that you don't lose them. Because if you edify them too early, then you will actually lose them. That's what happened to me. How do you work with them? Well, you utilize them to do the training in small groups initially. Don't put them in a big group too fast, yeah? And keep reminding them about their prospecting activity, because that's where, you know, rubber meets the road. Until you got a prospect, you got nobody to train, right? You need to enroll them first. So that's how that works with the teacher trainers. What I would like to suggest that, you know, you review this often. Think about which one are you, and which is your primary and secondary, because you can have, you know, what we have here, we have planners or strategists and trainers. We have strategists and nurturers. We can have you know, planner, promoter type of thing. You will find that you don't very often see somebody that would be a promoter, nurturer at the same time. And yet, we're all capable of doing that. So now, how do you work with somebody like that? I think it's really important to understand that if you know your type and you know what type somebody else is, you will more likely find easy to work with them. Now, let me give you an experience. Working with a company that was primarily nurturing culture. Everybody was into product, and so much so that, you know, if I talked about money, some people are objecting and asking me not to mention it. You know, they were kind of saying as if they were doing this business just to help people, but not for money. And, you know, in that kind of culture, somebody that's a promoter felt out of place. And those nurturers made the promoter feel like there was something wrong with them. They were kind of yucky, you know? And obviously, any promoter that joins that kind of group will be driven out. They're not gonna tolerate them. And I've seen this happen when I saw multiple meetings in the same hotel for different companies, where they were a nurturing company and there was another company that their culture was primarily promoters, and they met in the toilet and they was making comments about each other afterwards that I heard in a hallway. And I heard one of them saying the other ones were obscene, while the promoters were mentioning how the nurturers were really out with the fairies. They didn't know what they would, you know, that they didn't have a business mind. And so what we need to do is, instead of looking at each other and saying, because I'm a nurturer, then you as a promoter, you're not a good person, or there's something wrong with you. That is the worst thing you can do in this industry. Now, let me explain what happens if you get say a nurturer and you sponsor a promoter. Well, you can say to them, you know, let them loose, let them go, guide them, but let them go for it with the recruiting. And you tell them, I will help you support those people up to a point, because you cannot support thousands of people. You can only support a good, you know, a good, reasonable group. And you need, now, if you also had a trainer on board, then you can support, say, imagine you are a nurturer, you've recruited a promoter, but your upline is a good trainer. Now you're a great team. Now you could be organizing those, you'd be supporting the people that are new, that are coming in, organizing them, and let your upline training them for your new person. Now that's not exactly a duplication in the traditional sense as we often talk about. However, you will find that that team would grow, and that nurture promoter is a really good combination. Also, promoter trainer could be a very good combination. Now, in some, you know, some compensation plans, like binary system, that you could have a situation where a promoter recruits a trainer and then recruits a lot of people in their organization, and the trainer will train them. Now, ideally, you have all four, so that you, multiples of all four, right? But I would say that most likely what you will find, majority of people that you bring in will be supporter type of people. And so help them by spotting and recruiting promoters for them, help them by, help nurturers by spotting in their warm list, spotting a strategist or a trainer. Now, how do you spot that? By going through their list. So when somebody is joining and you do the training with them, and you've done the list together, now ask them about each person, and they will tell you what they like. Now, once you understand what you're looking for, you're listening for these qualities, you can start asking, well, is this person, you know, are they good at planning? Are they good at strategizing? Or are they into sales? Do they like promoting? You know, you ask the right kind of questions, you will find out from their list what types of people they are. And you will find that they may only have 3 or 4 people that are promoters, and maybe, you know, 5 or 10 of trainers, and another 2 or 3 strategists. So what you do is you help them recruit those people so that they can then truly support them. And the other way around, if you got a promoter, well, help them get nurturers in place, and then you know, help them build those legs by if the promoter has got more than enough frontline people, why not placing them with the supporter, because the supporter will really look after them, you know, to the point where they have a higher level chance of succeeding, versus being on the front line of a promoter and most likely leaving after a month or 2. So that's, you know, that's the important to understand. So I really invite you to look at what type are you, so that you can, one is relate to different people, and know that because they're different, they could actually contribute to your team, because they can think out of the box, because they're different from you. And look at developing either, you know, all other 4 quarters of the types of network marketers. I find that I can now switch quite easily between different types and styles, because I've been in this industry for so long, and I have worked with this system, this concept, for a while. And I understand it. And what I found is, because I've kind of assimilated it and know really well where I'm at, I find that it became really easy to spot people as I talk to them. Even when I talk to them, I can often say what type of you know, networker they might become, even before they joined. Now, it's not a rocket science. I invite you to look through your team establish who you're at, where you're at. Do you like promoting? Do you like sales? Do you want to do big meetings? Are you primarily, feeling real passionate about getting people that you get on board succeed? Do you feel like failure because your person didn't succeed? Well, if you do that, then you're a nurturer. I've had that experience where I felt like somebody that I had to leave behind. That was really painful. And we are all for it's what I'm suggesting is, by you knowing where your strength is, then looking at your team, try to find out where everybody, who they really are in that respect, and then work with them appropriately. So then if you need to, if you need to work with, say, if you're nurturing, you need to work with a promoter, learn from these 4 types so that you know how you can work with them, so that you don't insult them, so to speak, because that could easily happen. And you could easily feel insulted by a promoter. That could so easily happen. And there's just misunderstanding. There are different ways of operating. Sometimes nurturers feel like, I don't want to leave anybody behind, but the promoters, they don't care about people. It's not true. Promoters care about people on a bigger scale. They don't want to help 1 or 2 people. They want to help thousands of them. And that's their mindset. Nobody's wrong. We need all of them. We need everybody. And ideally, you have all 4 in your team. But to be able to work with them, you need to establish where you're at and then learn how to work with them. It's not difficult. And I recommend that you look at this PDF often. Every time you get new person recruited, review this so that you know who you got. And so then you can support them appropriately. And with that, I think we'll stop and see if there's questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Zvone. I really appreciate that. And as we're letting people think some questions up here, I just want to highlight, this is like the 3rd time now I've gone through it, and I seem to always pick something new up. So I just really want to say thank you for that. And you explained that incredibly well. And I guess I look at it, as you said, like really all of these qualities we really want to have or hone in or know when to use them. And, we need to plan and strategize in our business. We need to promote and recruit. We need to be to train people and nurture people. So all of those qualities. So I think it's a really good task, everybody, to go on a checklist on a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself. And in each category, rate yourself on how could you be better in that area. And when I broke down the 4 categories like this, I kind of broke it into 2 parts. Like 2 of them are really people orientated and 2 of them are really task orientated. And I think that's a really good way to hone in quite quickly to see if they're more people orientated or task orientated, because their nature is always going to take that first step forward. So if they're a task orientated person, they're naturally going to take the task first. And if they're a people orientated person, they're going to be more about the people and the benefits and all that sort of stuff. So I think that was really great. And every quality has a sunny side and a shadow side. And again, that comes down to the strengths and weaknesses of all those different categories. And last but not least is, as you were saying, when like when we got a new person on our team, like we keep notes of people, they track them in their first 90 days. Maybe this is where you can take your notes and write down what a category you think that person actually is as part of your tracking. And at the end of the day, what we are trying to do, or you're trying to do, is how to better serve your team and better serve your customers. And so I think it's an excellent topic, Zvone, and I want to say thank you for that. I really do. So now, before everybody, we let you go and have some questions, I just want to highlight, you guys had the chance to have Zvone share on this, and you guys also had the opportunity to hear Manfred share on this. And I just want to highlight that this series of 6 has really been a brainchild of the 3 of us to come together and put together these PowerPoints and the topics all around. So next week is on leadership development, which we're really excited about, and that was again picking the brains of many great leaders in the business and industry. So now that I've given people a chance to think of some questions, is there anybody who wanted to share what they got out of tonight's call or ask a question? Give them a chance. Oh, Roberta. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, everyone. I have actually seen that presentation delivered by Alex Teese in San Diego a couple of years ago at convention, and you absolutely trumped him. That was absolutely sensational. So thank you so much. There was just so many more elements to it, and some great personal experience and examples of it. So thank you so very much. I wrote a ton of notes, even though the recording is available to us, and I just enjoyed every single sentence. It's just, I think, critical that we do this. And as you're speaking about the 4 categories, I know which 2 I am, and I'm definitely the people person and not the systems person, and I know that that's a great weakness of mine and something that I can certainly improve on. So thank you so much for your time. It was great.
Excellent. Well spoken, Roberta. Thank you. Was there anybody else? How about you, CJ?
I found it really insightful in that it made me stop and go, right, I need to, well, because I wrote lots of notes like you did, Roberta, but one of the things that I'll be doing is going back and having a look to go, well, what's my primary, which kind of jumped out at me, but also what's my secondary. And I think I'm actually a mix of the personal and the task sort of thing. That
Good mix.
Not leave anyone behind, but also liking to know, what's expected, where's the next step. So I found it really useful. So thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, CJ. That's excellent. All right. Now, if there was anybody else for a question. Okay. Well, everybody, I will get this video out as soon as I can. And as well, I'll expect an email with the actual slides to this so you guys can review and reflect it as soon as possible. Thanks again, everybody, tonight. And above, stay tuned for on Monday, an email coming through on a St. Patrick's Day promotion for everybody. And then next Thursday night is our final leadership. So I look forward to seeing everybody. And Zvone, thank you so much for your time and being a part of this. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Savannah. It was excellent.
Thanks, Savannah. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you. That was really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh, good to see you, Lynn.
See you later.